she was just working there 1 hour a week, but she does like music therapy, kind of like a class for the people who go there.
Yeah, no, I love new opportunities.
She's been working there for a while, but you know, she likes it.
Well, good. Yeah, no, I think new opportunities is an awesome program, but they're not taking any of our high school kids anymore. We
Oh, really?
send them down there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah, so she's doing a little bit. She's working on her credentials to get her her pastor credentials. We'll say, yeah. So, how much is this hanging basket? Okay. I might just bring it up here and just kind of start a pile so that guards. I really wanted to go, but it's like, they might start bringing it. But what I've done so far, I've done pretty good today. So. What is this called? I know it says fast track, but like, what is it?
I'm surprised these haven't got picked up yet.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good, are you?
Good.
Physical therapist or something like that.
How much for clothes here?
Everything on these tables are $1 because these are donations. These are clothes that were donated to us
Oh,
to go
okay.
back to our children's ministry.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
anything on these three are $1.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, these are what you need. We only had one customer. Well, baby, it's not one yet, okay?
Hey, what's happening, folks? Welcome back to the storage unit. I appreciate you coming by the channel. I did go out and do some yard selling today. I was out and about last night and I saw some yard sale signs just pop up. So I'm like, we are supposed to get some rain here in an hour, actually, it looks like. So I didn't think there was going to be any because I didn't see any signs. But, you know, I was like, you know, I'm going to get up and I'm going to hit all these. And I ended up going to like five different sales, I think, today. A couple I didn't find anything, but the ones that I did go to, I found some really good stuff, so let me share it with you. Okay, so this is from one of the sales that I went to today, and I found some old stuff and some really old stuff, and I think it's going to do really well. I'm keeping these out separate because I got to take them home and wash them up, but they were just, I know this hat is just filthy, but a Cincinnati NCAA vintage snapback hat, if I can get this cleaned up pretty good, this should do pretty good. He was asking $2 each on these. Another 1993 snapback. This is Chicago Cubs Convention, 8th annual. Looks like it could be a giveaway hat. It's got Pepsi on the back, but it's a nice hat. Although it does look old, like it's in pretty decent shape. So I'm going to wash these up, see if I can kind of bring some life back to them. And then they had a whole bunch of concert t-shirts. So the guy said, oh, these are older, vintage, which they're not vintage. Real quick, I can show you how to spot a vintage t-shirt. The first thing I always look for is a tag. Well, I see this Gildan tag. This is a newer kind of brand. So if this was a vintage tag, it would probably be about twice this size, and it would be longer, and it would say made in the USA. So that's the first thing I look at. Second thing I look at is the stitching on a t-shirt. See how this is a double stitch? This is a newer t-shirt. If this was a vintage t-shirt, it would have one line of stitching, and they call that a single stitch. So on the sleeves, if it has one line of stitching there, and then at the bottom of the t-shirt, it would have one line. And you'll see that this has double stitching all the way around. That's how all these t-shirts are. Any t-shirt that you have nowadays, t-shirt that I'm wearing, double stitch. If it's single stitch, you got a winner. So just so you know. But we got, and these are bigger sizes too, so this is good. So we got a Pink Floyd, The Wall. I actually am a fan of this, and this might fit me. So considering keeping it, but I'll probably sell it. So we got Pink Floyd, The Wall, and then there's some U2 shirts. The Joshua Tree Tour. This looks like it was from 2017. So there we have a Fruit of the Loom tag. Let me check this one out. So Fruit of the Loom tag is a good sign to be vintage, but it's a smaller tag, so I don't think this is a vintage shirt. So then we're going to look at the stitching, and no, double stitch. So, I mean, I paid, well, I'll get to it at the end here. So we got another Pink Floyd shirt. We got another U2 Joshua Tree shirt, Joshua Tree Tour 2017. Gonna have to use a lint roller on these guys. And then we got a Hotel California Eagles shirt. Definitely not vintage. There's not even a tag on this. This is a newer shirt. Could be a concert tee, but still, it's a newer shirt. Another U2 shirt. So that's pretty good. So I asked how much he wanted for these shirts, and they basically asked me, like, what do you think? And I kind of give them the line on, you don't really want to ask me, because obviously I want things cheap as possible. I said $1, then he said he wanted more. And then I basically said, for this pile of shirts, I'd give you $15 for it. So there's 7 t-shirts, so that'd be slightly over $2. And then they wanted $2 each for this hat, so then we would be at $19 for that. And the lady, I could tell she didn't really like my price on that. She's like, how about $20 for everything? And I was like, fine. So that puts everything here slightly over $2 each, which I'm okay with that. And then at the same sale, they had these, who was that, Richard Petty? I don't know my NASCAR stuff. I guess it's Richard Petty. I have to look it up. I'm pretty sure. What does that say? I can't read it. That's got to be Richard Petty. I'm looking like an idiot. But these Pez dispensers are all new in the box. I asked him how much he wanted for them, and he said, how about $2 a piece? So that was $10 for each of those. I did look up a sold comp on something similar. Looks like it sold for about $17.99. So I'm thinking somewhere around the $12 to $15 range each for each of these. So that's pretty good there. And then this is the first sale that I went to. Now that I'm kind of looking at this a little bit better, I did not notice this big giant stain on this. I don't know if it's worth me taking home and washing. I don't think it's going to come out. But this is a Peanuts Snoopy hoodie. And on the back, it's got a real big graphic on it. I think I might list it as it is because some of this stuff still sells, but I might just try to get $10 on it. I paid $1 for that. And they also have this Tupac t-shirt. Again, I'm not paying a lot for these. So for $1, I'm thinking $8 to $10 for this. Then I saw a different sale. They had a bunch of figures, some Funko Pops. Whoops. They only had these listed for like $1. So these look to be from the video game Diablo. And some of them had different, like, interchangeable heads that you could put on them. You just pop these off, and then you could put that on or whatever. So this one had a different head to go with it. But I looked them up. There are some listed on eBay. I don't remember how much they went for, but for $1, I figured, what the heck, I'll take a gamble on it. So I'm figuring somewhere around the $8 to $10 range for those. All right, and then the last sale that I went to, very happy with this sale too. And I recognize the lady because I think it was last year, I bought a bunch of Nintendo games out of her. And I did hear her say that Nintendo games went quick, so I guess they had more they sold today, which is a bummer. But I didn't get to see them. I spent $13 for all this stuff here. First thing, I mean, I found this Marvel Comics. It's like a ramen bowl, has the chopsticks and everything with it. Big fan of Marvel comic stuff, and I like the old school artwork. So this is going to be mine. I only paid 50 cents for it. We get a Chicago Blackhawks shirt. They had a lot of different shirts and stuff, but I'm just kind of, again, guys, I don't like to spend about $1 on t-shirts and that kind of thing. So spend $1 on this. And then this is a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let me put this over here. This is a Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestling shirt. They only wanted 50 cents for it. So it's a newer shirt. It's got the big what question mark, and then it's got the big Stone Cold graphic on the back. That's a nice t-shirt. Back in the day, I was a fan, big fan of Stone Cold. Stone Cold era was when I was in high school. It was pretty sweet. All right, so I came across this box of hats, and I love selling hats, and they only wanted $1 a piece for them. Some of these look possibly vintage. Yeah, this is a vintage, I think, pretty sure this is a vintage auto hat. So we got New York Mets. We got a Chicago Cubs here. We got an old Marlboro hat, Snake Pass. So Marlboro stuff kind of sells. I'll have to look that one up. Well, this one looks vintage for sure. We got Chicago Cubs. We got a trucker mesh back. Man, this one's sweet. That's a vintage hat. Chicago Bulls. This is an old one. I had one like this when I was a kid. Chicago Bears. Chicago Cubs. Looks like we have some Chicago fans there. Then they had a couple Harley hats, and I'm going to look this one up here, and I'll let you know in a second. But when you find the hats with the gold leaf on the bill, pretty sure this is an old vintage Harley hat. I think these sell for good money. Then we had another Harley hat. They wanted $2 each on the Harley hats. So this one, I think I could say vintage too. Same rules kind of apply. Made in USA. It's got the old foam. It's got the foam bill. This looks like a vintage hat to me. Let me look this one up real quick. All right, I looked up real quick, and I saw 2 sold comps for vintage Harley hats that both sold for $49.99. So there you go. These vintage hats with the gold leaf on the bill, you want to look out for those. Okay, did pretty good. $48 is what I spent. I sell that Harley Davidson hat, and I make enough to cover every single thing that I bought today. So that's pretty awesome. A lot of vintage old stuff that I found today, those snapback hats. I think I did pretty good on some stuff today. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow, pull some Sunday sales, and we'll go from there. Hey there, what's happening, folks? Welcome back to the Storage Unit. It is Sunday evening, and what a beautiful evening it is. Sun's coming down. Everything's good. We got a nice cool breeze. And I had a great weekend. Had a 3-day weekend. Like I said, I took the day off on Friday. As you can see earlier in this video, I did some yard sailing on Saturday. Found some really good stuff. And I got a bunch of orders I got to pack up today for the weekend orders. So let's get busy with that, because no wasting time. I've got a lot to do. So I've got a total of 12 items going out today. And I sold something on every platform. I got, the most of it was 9 on eBay and 1 of each on each of the other platforms. So my gross sales so far today, or this weekend rather, I had $113 in gross sales, and my cost of goods into these items are about $12. So let's get pulling some orders, shall we? First item sold on Macari, and this is something, one of those items that I've had for absolutely forever. And I got it on a online auction a long time ago, and I marked it way down just trying to get rid of it. And it's an old vintage Barbie doll. Yeah, nothing fancy here, guys. This is a Barbie doll. It's from 1993. I picked it up at an online auction. I thought I might go for a little bit more, but loose Barbies, guys, I learned my lesson. They don't really go for much unless you get the ones from like the 60s or 50s or whatever. But this sold for $2.50 plus shipping. Next item on Poshmark is a Magellan, like a fishing shirt. And I think I've mentioned before that Magellan stuff does sell. I think I've sold like pretty much every Magellan shirt that I've ever had. There it is. So pick this up at Goodwill for about $1, and this sold for $9 plus shipping. Next one was on Depop, and it was in tote A, so let's go ahead and pop this one open. And it was this pair of women's shorts. This was Ocean Pacific is the brand, and they were kind of like beach shorts. They refer to them online as booty shorts. They were pretty short, but I picked them up at Goodwill for about $1, and these sold for $8 plus shipping. All right, let's move along to my eBay orders. We got one of my old t-shirts. We got a Batman t-shirt coming out of this tote. There it is, Batman and Robin. This came from the company Loot Crate. Lootwear shirt, I no longer wear this, decided to sell it. And this sold for $9 plus shipping. Then we sold a Kate Spade AirPod holder. My wife asked me to sell this, and I looked it up. It's not worth much. I mean, it's actually brand new. It's never been used. It's glittery and everything. You put your AirPods in there, and it's like a nice fancy case for it. But these don't go for much open out of the box. This sold for $8.99 plus shipping. Got some khakis coming out of, what was this? Right on top? What are the chances of that? Yeah, Polo 4032, that's these. Picked these up at Goodwill, a little over $1, and these sold for $14 plus shipping. Then out of tote, or G, I have a green Nike dry fit tank top, women's tank top. I think this is it here, yep. Picked this up at a yard sale for $1, and this sold for $7.25 plus shipping. Next, I have a Harley Davidson button-up shirt. I think this is the last of those Harley Davidson shirts that I bought at that yard sale. This one is kind of black and orange, or I'm going to have to search for it. Here it is here. It's like a zip-up black and orange shirt. It's actually pretty nice. Got this at the yard sale for $5. This sold for $24.49 plus shipping. All right, then in tote C, this is another thing that I've had for absolutely forever. It's probably going to be on the bottom of this tote. It is an old toy, one of my kids. And again, you've heard me say, that's not a good spot to put this. You've heard me say that if you just want to get rid of stuff, try it on eBay first. I've had this listed forever. Really doesn't hold a lot of value. This is from Monsters Inc. 2. There's Sully. And I don't know what I would have into this. Like I said, it's just one of my kids' old toys. But this sold for $5 plus shipping. Out of J, we have a New York Yankees t-shirt. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that this took as long as it did to sell. But nice t-shirt. I bought a Goodwill bulk box a long time ago. This was in there. So I'm into this for like less than $1. But this sold for $9 plus shipping. Then another, or not another, out of C5, we got a Coach item. Picked this up at a yard sale a couple weeks ago. And basically, I don't have anything into this. It was kind of a throw-in deal with that Bose stereo and another item. But this sold today for $8 plus shipping. It's pretty nice. And Q again is a t-shirt that I picked up at a yard sale for $0.25. And it's from a YouTube channel. I think it's a YouTube channel called Vice Grip Garage. A couple of my buddies watch this a lot. It's like a mechanic show. But this is like a 4X. I got it at a yard sale for $0.25, and this sold for $8 plus shipping. And that's all I have for you guys today. I appreciate you coming by the channel, spending some more time with me here on a Sunday evening at the storage unit. I'm going to go ahead and get busy packing these things up. I've got that to do, and I've got to do my listing and everything, and we're going to get the heck out of here. And if you haven't yet, guys, go ahead and please like and subscribe. I would appreciate that. That does help me out a lot. Trying to get to 500 followers. That's my next goal here. So I appreciate it. I'm always posting stuff, guys. This is my everyday life as a part-time reseller. So you kind of get what you get with my channel. If you really want to see what it's like, watch my stuff. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks. Have a great day.